John Fetterman wrecks The View on their own show. Guys, this is going to be a good video. I think you're going to enjoy it. Now, there is some nuance here. I think John Fetterman, in my opinion, isn't as forthcoming and honest as he might seem to most people. But nonetheless, he is way more reasonable than these hags on The View, and you will see that right now. So we're going to get right into it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But first, do me a big favor here. Like our video and share it around so we can keep bringing you guys this great hard-hitting content. As always, my friends, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
It's hard to believe it's only been a week since the former president has retaken office. You were there at inauguration. He's been attempting to flex his power. But are you surprised by anything? I didn't even see what that was.
He's wearing a similar outfit at the inauguration, and you looked great.
I totally feel you. Okay, I get you. So, but are you surprised at anything you've been seeing, or do you anticipate that there's going to be changes that we should be prepped for that we're not thinking about?
I mean, honestly, I haven't been surprised by anything now. I mean, he's been doing essentially what he actually campaigned on that. He announced he is going to pardon the J6 individuals. He is going to absolutely go after the border. So there's a lot of things that he's already ran on. I mean, criticized a lot of it, and I don't agree with everything either, but it's undeniable he actually ran on that and been really upfront. He's like, I am your reputation, and he's, kind of making those moves. So that's kind of where we're at. Early on, immediately after the election, I was like, hey, we have a choice. We can freak out and follow every other thing around, like a cat, with a laser, after everyone. But I'm not that guy. I'm not going to be that Democrat. For me, there's things I'm going to agree with, I'm going to disagree with, but I'm in the business of finding wins for Pennsylvania and for the nation, and engaging the president. I think I see that as doing my job.
So as we all know, John Fetterman is a senator in Pennsylvania, and these are some great and pretty words there. And, I guess it's good to see him say that, I'll give him that, but I don't really trust him. I don't think he's nearly as forthcoming as he, pretends to be. He as many of you probably heard, he said recently, he's not a progressive, he's just a American who happens to vote Democrat, and he believes in fighting common sense and yada, yada, yada. The usual fake moderate kind of shtick, right? And you can actually see that he's being completely dishonest about that with a few simple things. For example, he went and actually shut down an act in Congress that would have made it illegal to end the life of a baby in a failed abortion after it was born. Yes, you heard that right. Fetterman believes that if a baby is born in a failed abortion, that you should just be allowed to end its life anyways, because what the hell, my body, my choice. Even if it's not my body and it's completely separate from my body, still, it's between a mother and her doctor, as the saying goes. He's also very much said out in public that he supports abortion up until the day of birth. Now, while he may have not said those words, he has communicated it in a bill he supported that guarantees just that. All that to say, he's not a moderate. He's not reasonable. Do not fall for their shtick.
There are those on the left who feel like you have made a rightward shift recently, going to Mar-a-Lago, joining Truth Social, your positions on issues like immigration, fracking. What do you say to those who are now, in a sense, questioning your commitment to the Democratic Party?
Oh, well, first, I want to just say I am so sorry for what happened to that officer. I mean, he's had a heart attack. His life, he almost died. I mean, I've had a stroke. Same thing. Absolute empathy and just appalled for what I witnessed what happened.
He had a stroke, and he's still smarter than all these ladies at The View. It's quite incredible.
On January 6th. And I absolutely would reject pardoning people that were involved on that. And so right word, that's just happened not to be true. I've been on record too saying I am not going to become a Republican. Although maybe some people might be happy on one side, but I would make a pretty terrible Republican because, pro-choice, really strong immigration, pro-LGBTQ, just pretty I don't think I'd be a good fit. So I'm not going to change my...
Couple things there. All right. First of all, he just shows you that he's a radical right there where he says we shouldn't have pardoned the J6 people. Almost all of them were non-violent. Okay, that's just a fact. There's no going around that. And for you to say, well, yeah, I'm perfectly okay with them being in prison for years and years on end, that's honestly disgusting and despicable. And we shouldn't just overlook these things and pretend like they don't happen. As far as the rest of Fetterman's points about the Republican Party, well, I have some tough news for, I guess, myself and all of us here. The Republican Party basically is pro-immigration, pro-LGBTQ. I don't think it should be, don't get me wrong, but for example, this past 2024 campaign, we were told that we were going to staple green cards to the phones of every single person who graduates college, and the Republican Party campaign platform in 2024 actually removed being opposed to gay marriage as part of it. So the Republican Party actually is those things. Fetterman could be a Republican because the GOP has essentially gone so far left. I don't like admitting it. It's not pretty. It's not cute. But I do say it because we should hold the GOP's feet to the fire and make it more conservative. We got this, guys.
Party, and if I am going to I'm going to show up. I'll give you the exclusive. I can announce. So I can't keep chasing down every last thing that's online because they're just happen not to be true. And just look at my votes. Look at the things that I haven't changed in a way.
Well, talking about your votes, you joined all of your fellow Democrats and 3 Republicans in voting against Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary. Mm-hmm. But you were a yes on Kristi Noem, on Marco Rubio, and you've indicated you'll vote in favor of other Trump picks like Elise Stefanik for UN ambassador. You've also taken meetings with some of the most controversial appointees.
Really, all of them. The controversial ones are the non-ones. Yeah.
So the controversial ones are Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. Their hearings are set for later this week. Do you know how you're going to vote yet?
Well,
Keep a close eye on the people who Fetterman voted in favor for. Guys, remember the golden rule. Bipartisanship is not a good thing, okay? When the Democrats and Republicans team up on something, it's probably something bad. If you want good examples, we've got the Patriot Act, all right? The ban on TikTok. And maybe some of you disagree. Oh, no, TikTok, it's Chinese up. No, okay? If they're going to do nothing about our American social media companies who are censoring us and also selling our data to China, for them to care about TikTok, it shows that they have other motives, all right? I think that's very important to keep in mind. Bit of a rant, but the point is, if a Democrat likes a Republican, there's probably something wrong with them. And in the case of Marco Rubio and Elise Stefanik, and there might have been someone else who mentioned, I can't remember right now, they are extreme warmongers, war hawks who love dropping bombs on the Middle East and many of other places where America should not be involved. So keep an eye on that.
Know how you're going to vote yet?
Well, again, it's like we just like all of you are going to watch the hearings and see how things go. And I was committed to having an open dialogue with anyone, and I've played it straight. And that's the same kind of rules that I play, and that's what I extend to them. And I found that to be illuminating, and I was able to develop a more full, informed choice. And that's what I've been doing there. Some were real easy, like Rubio. I mean, he's incredibly qualified, and there's other ones that are going to be controversial, and you're going to see some really controversial ones coming up this week. But now I can't say, I refuse to even spend some time to just hear them directly from them, just the way I'm doing right now, having a conversation. So that's what I've decided, and I haven't regretted it.
Oh, Rubio, you're just such a good guy. You're so well qualified. Yeah, I gotta say, if Fetterman likes him, that makes me like him just a little bit less. Now, let's see a little bit more about what Fetterman has to say about bipartisanship and working with Donald Trump.
You did get a lot of criticism for it from some people who thought you going to Mar-a-Lago gives cover to Trump by creating the solution that he's amenable to working with Democrats. I was very supportive of when people like Mitt Romney and Rob Portman worked with Joe Biden. So I understand the need for bipartisanship. Of course you are. I didn't love the optics of you going to Mar-a-Lago. He was going to, which is his palace. He was going to be in Washington a week later. But what was your goal? And do you feel ultimately you were successful?
Well, here's what happened. I was being lazy on the couch at like Friday night, and my team reached out saying, hey, and I don't know if this is like a trolling or a hoax, but they extended an invitation. You know, what do you think? I'm like, well, I mean, if they're playing it straight, then I think it's pretty reasonable to have a conversation. You know, inviting me to engage, and I visited it. So maybe some people would be critical of that, but you know, for me, engaging the president, I think when you're in this business, I mean, that's part of the job. Any more you would criticize Governor Newsom, you know, that received the president there after the fires in California. They are going to find a way to work together.
It's funny, that View lady with the, with the accent, I can't really remember what her name is right now, and I don't really care, frankly. She says that, oh, it's so bad, Trump is not an agreeable guy, you're making him look agreeable. If anything, Trump was too agreeable, all right, at least during his first term of his presidency. Let's not forget, Donald Trump actually really tried to work with the Democrats. In 2019, he offered a deal where he said, hey, give me just about, it was less than $5 billion, like $4 billion for the wall, and you can have your DACA kids. You can give them all citizenship and all that stuff. Put them on a pathway to citizenship. Illegal immigrants, all right? So he was literally willing to take a paltry amount of money for a wall, just a few billion, which is really nothing when you consider that our annual budget at the time was about, $3.5 trillion. And the Democrats still said, nope, Donald Trump is evil. He's holding border security in the face of these kids who deserve American citizenship. And I'm just sitting here thinking, what? He's basically saying, hey, let's somewhat half maybe secure the border and you can let these illegal immigrants get citizenship, which is frankly going way too far in the Democrats' favor. And they still crapped on him and said how evil he was and racist and, orange mustache man in Germany, the usual shtick. So this idea that Trump is somehow the super standoffish and won't work with Democrats, it's just not true. It's completely made up.
I mean, that's where we are. And I hope maybe you are watching are tired of just like the venom and the hate. And it's like, I'd like more bipartisan kinds of things. And you are going to agree with things and you're going to disagree on things. And I'm going to pick my fights. And I'm not going to, I've chosen not to add to the cheap heat online or go after those kinds of things. I've never found that helpful. And if those kinds of things were helpful, we would be in a different situation. We'd be the ones making those kinds of decisions with the new administration with then Vice President Harris.
Well, folks, that wraps up our video for today. What'd you think? Personally, I find it quite incredible that somebody who's a victim of, a stroke is a lot smarter than these ladies are. It's really quite incredible, but you know what? What can you do? It is what it is. The ladies at The View are going to be the ladies at The View. So with all that being said, thank you for tuning in. Comment below, let us know what you like about the clip, what kind of stuff you want to see in the future. We'll see everybody again soon. And hit that subscribe button. Thank you. We appreciate it. God bless.